Hey everybody, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, this is another tutorial Tuesday, this here being the Noble Artist. I forgot to say that first. Today I'm going to do just I guess a normal tutorial for a weapon here, and I've been looking over some of the tutorials I had written down, and this one wasn't really there, but I mean it was, but they just wanted a shotgun, and the last shotgun I made was really complicated, and I am going to do a tutorial on that. I don't really have the time to do that today because it involved like magnets and stuff like that, and burning into the actual plastic. But this is a shotgun design from one of the U-Pick guy paints a while back, and I think it's a really cool design. I am going to tweak it a little bit. This piece right here I used was a little bit thinner. I used it was like a plastic or rubbery wiring from a really small piece of electronics, but this is toothpick, so it's a little bit thicker. That's like the only variation from that, only thing I changed with it. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get to this tutorial. I'm going to show you the pieces I need and the materials, and then the tools. First, the tools. I have super glue to put it all together. I got some kind of pliers to cut into the plastic of the gun, and to cut the toothpick, you'll probably need an X-Acto knife. I got one somewhere. You'll need an X-Acto knife for that, and then the metal scissors if you want scissors. Okay. There's all the tools. There we go. So you need this to cut the plastic. This is going to be the sand off the plastic once you cut it, and then the wood, because it gets a little bit of an edge to it. You want to sand that down. Tweezer bees, so you can pick up the pieces and glue them, put them where they need to be. File, just in case the sandpaper isn't cutting it for the plastic because it's a little bit thicker. And then, of course, the X-Acto knife for the wood. Scissors for the metal. So those are the recommended tools. You don't need all those, but that's what I recommend. And then we're going to cut 5 of these little cubes. These little, not cubes, it's a cylinder. Cube's a square. This is a cylinder. We're going to get 5 of these cylinders. Now just take your toothpick, any size or any kind of toothpick, and then just cut them. You want them to be the same length, so just make sure you line them up, get the same length. So we get 5 of those. 2 of those we're going to make a little bit longer, just cut a little bit longer piece right there. There's going to be the barrel of the gun. And then my toothpicks have a little fancy ornate end, and that is used for the scope. So I just cut that off for the scope. Metal pieces, we're going to need 2 metal pieces about yay wide. This is my finger here. It's almost the length of the barrel. It will definitely be the length of the barrels that we're going to be using. So we need 2 of those, one for the upper and bottom part. And then just a thin metal strip. Again, if you're not using metal, you can use another material that will work. Even if you have tinfoil, that might work as well. And then, of course, the gun. I'm using the bigger gun. You can use a smaller gun. Doesn't really matter. You can make your own gun and just use these techniques on it. Does not matter. It is all custom. So if you want to take a little bit of what I do and then add your own stuff to it, feel free to do that. So anyway, I know these tutorials can get kind of long, but I'm going to do just start to finish. And if you want to skip through this video, feel free to do so, and then until you see the end result, and then that would be that. But other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Or if you want to pause this, go get your materials and follow along with me, you can do that as well. First, we're going to try to hack this gun up here. We're going to cut the stock off the back, but we're going to cut it off where the stock is, because there's a stock and then there's this longer part. We're going to cut off just that part right there. So I'm also going to cut the end of this off because this side is longer. You want to cut the longer side just a little bit so we get both sides roughly the same. We'll sand that down a little bit, but we want both sides to look the same. And then you got to be careful, make sure you're cutting straight, otherwise when you glue it on, you'll have like an angle on the surface, and it's going to be a little bit difficult. So this, you can kind of determine how far you want to go down. I'm going to go down almost to the base of the gun. So I cut off, it's still in here, so I cut off about that much of the back. Don't need that anymore. And then for the barrel, now we're going to have to make 2 cuts just because it doesn't fit all the way down into these. So we're just going to turn this a little bit as we put a pressure, and then it comes right off. This part we can use, so we will keep that. That can always be recycled. Mainly because this part hasn't been cut, so that will still fit perfectly into a guy's hand, so that can be a good handle if we need it to be. Alrighty, so with that, the next cut, now we're going to get right up to the edge right there, cut the barrel completely off. I'm putting a crimp into it and then turning it and crimping a little bit more just to give it more of a smoother cut all the way around. This piece, we can hold on to it for a little bit, but those pieces I usually get rid of those. Now the scope, I want to put my own scope on because I want it to be completely customized. So we're going to go ahead and cut the scope off of this gun. Doesn't have to be precise. I actually want to leave a little bit of that piece on there where the scope is standing. So I want to leave a little bit of that top part because I want to put my scope on top of that and leave it so you can have that, so you can see through the scope and it's not directly on top of the top of the gun. This piece definitely going to save because this is the piece that we use for the Jango Fett style pistol. I'll leave a link in my tutorials are up in this corner. I'll put a link there. Go check it out. One of those videos is going to be it's like a picture of Jango Fett. It's going to have the Jango Fett style blaster. So go check that out. We're also going to cut into the handle. This, I'm not sure if this is supposed to be the trigger of the gun, this underneath part, but we're going to cut the top of it. We're going to make sure we leave a little bit of a gap right there and put a little bit of cut there, not a full cut. And then we're going to cut this little piece here. We're basically cutting the top part of it off. You can see it's hanging right there. And we're just going to, we want that part off so then it puts a trigger right there. I'm not sure how well this is zooming in with my camera. I looked at some cameras the other day at Walmart and I might try to get a new camera pretty soon. So that'd be pretty cool because then I'll have a lot better footage for y'all. So this, we're going to take our file and we're just going to file up those pieces we just cut. You can use the sandpaper. Sandpaper is a little bit better for the wood just because it's not as rough, I guess. I have new files that my dad got me for Christmas. And I used some of them. They're really good. They're like diamond powdered or whatever. They're really sharp, or not sharp, but they'll last a while. But I've had this one for a long time and it gets the job done too. So that's what I'm using for now. So I'm just going to sand off these because you want it to be flat because obviously when you're going to glue stuff together, you want a flat edge. And I mean, it helps a little bit to have it rough just so the glue can just get in all those crevices. And sometimes if you glue something flat onto something else that's flat, there's nothing for the glue to hold on to. But this is really narrow. This is the stock that we cut and it just crimps it down a lot. So we're going to definitely need to flatten this out. And when you sand it, it does flatten it a little bit. So that's why I recommend something like a file like this. You can do this different ways. You can hold it still and move the file, or hold the file still and then move it. Just make sure you don't file off your fingers. That would be that'd be sad. And if it happened because I suggested it, then I would cry a little bit. Okay, so we don't need that no more. And then the good thing about this glue is that it's going to be drying really fast. So hopefully this will go pretty quick. So we're going to put the stock back on. And for this, we're going to, this was the top part that we cut off, and I'm going to just leave like that. So we're going to hold this with our hand, that with the tweezer bee. Don't need that. Apply a little bit of a glue. I got this glue at Walmart. It came with like 3 or 4 of those. It was like $2 or something like that. Super cheap. And then we're just going to drop that right there. Now the glue is still gluing, like it's not fully set yet. I did put a lot, so actually I'm going to get some of that off. I'm actually going to use my hand for this piece. I am holding it at a side angle, but I do want to look straight down. Make sure that it's lined up. Get to the top. Take it off, move it over a little bit. I don't know what. It glued to my fingers. Oh no. This is the dangers of glue, people. It can get stuck to your hand, and that's not fun. So by now, a lot of the glue that I was using is now dry or off the gun completely because I moved it a lot. but that's okay. Just keep working with it. If it's not where you want it to be, rip it off and put it where you want it to be. Like, don't settle for, oh, it's glued on sideways. I'm just gonna stick with it. Don't settle for that. Just, you know, it's gonna take a little bit longer, but do it the way you want to. So now that that is on, I'm actually gonna put a little bit of glue. Normally I'll strengthen it fully, but I don't really actually put too much because I kind of just opened this glue too, so it's really sensitive. But we don't want that to fall off. So then this next step, actually for light steps, I am going to be using my fingers just because I can put more pressure onto it. But we're going to put the top part of the barrel on. So put a little bit of glue on the front of the gun. Grab one of the barrel pieces, the longer dowel rod, and make sure that when you put this on, you line it up to the top of the gun. See how quick that dried? Okay, so make sure it's straight across and make sure it's centered. Mine is not centered. Kind of had to just squint one eye and look at it. We need to put a little bit more glue. I didn't get a lot of glue on that first time. Woo! That's a lot of glue. Bring that up. Bring it up. Making sure we get this lined up perfectly. Nobody wants a crooked barrel. You can't shoot a gun like that. We need a reliable gun. Okay, I put way too much glue. My glue is really jumpy. Because the more glue you have, the longer it's going to take to dry. Fun fact, the more glue, the longer it takes to dry. Now, that's actually the startings of a pretty cool rifle. So, I mean, you don't have to continue and do a shotgun if you don't want to at this point. So we're going to take the second barrel, and while there's still a little bit of glue on that bottom part, we're going to take advantage of that. And we're going to stick this bottom barrel on like so. Now the bottom barrel doesn't matter if it sticks to the whole thing. We actually want it to stick to the whole bottom. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that's lined up. The bottom barrel is a little bit behind, but that's okay. They don't need to be exactly lined up. Put a little bit of glue to hold all that together. Whoa! That was fun. Do you guys enjoy that ride? And that is why my stand is on its last legs. Pun intended. Come on, stand. Work with me. You're embarrassing me, stand. Okay. Well, technical difficulties. Hopefully, get this a little bit closer. Okay. So anyway, before I was so rudely interrupted by that, make sure you get a lot of glue on the barrel, like so. Make sure that it's lined up like so, which it is, which is good. Now we're going to take the scope. Now it doesn't matter which way you put this, which angle. I'm probably going to put it on this way. Get the bigger piece that's on the facing away from the shooter. Oh, I dropped it. Ah! I've lost so much stuff in my carpet, but this piece I did not. Or did not lose. Okay, so we're going to put a little bit of glue at the top part. At the top part. Now this is basically the old scope stand right there. And I'm just going to, I'm trying to figure out what's a good way for y'all to see this. I'm going to do like that. Could you see how I did that maybe? Make sure that it is lined up how we want it. Because the glue, before it dries, I say this all the time, but before the glue dries you can move around with it and all this fun stuff. So kind of a bigger scope, but I like it for this gun. If I would change anything, I might drop it down just a little bit. But it's okay. I was thinking, sorry. I was like, do I want to drop it? Like, nah. It looks good as it is. Okay, so now we're going to take these cylinder pieces. And these we will use the tweezer beads just because we will get glue on our fingers if we try. So take your first cylinder, put just a wee bit of glue on it, and we're going to stick it right there on this like little opening part of the gun. Right there, that little gap. We're just going to stick it right, well, if it goes right there. I don't know if the glue part got on there right. Yep, okay. So just stick that one there. Grab another one. Now these are the shells of the gun. Technically these are the shells. We're going to use our imagination and say these little pieces of wood are shotgun shells from the future. And we're just going to put the next one just right underneath it, making sure that they're touching, making sure that it is even, making sure, there's a lot of things we need to make sure. Just making sure you're paying attention. And take the next one, and they're just going to repeat said process. I don't know why I said that with an accent, and it's weird because I don't normally glue with my left hand, but I picked it up left-handed. This part gets a little bit, not crazy, but because I'm dealing with not different shapes, but these don't exactly want to go on the exact same way each time, even though it is the same shape, but don't worry about it. If they're a little off, then it gives it some character. Mine are just a little bit off. That middle one, they're the same shape, the same size. I just put it on there a little bit off, so, but don't worry about it. And then put the next one. And then depending on what you're going for, like you don't have to wrap it around, but I'm going to put the last one on there just because I have it, and we can do like almost a full circle of ammo. And then drop, oh boy. Bam. Okay. So, now that we have the round clip with the ammo, we're going to now take this longer piece. Now you see how fast that took? Very, very fast. Most of this stuff goes really quick. I know I'm talking a lot, and that kind of slows me down a little bit, but for those who think, oh, this is going to take so long, it doesn't. It doesn't take that long. So we're going to take this longer strip, and I'm not going to bend the top of it over another toothpick just to get the shape of it. So it'll help me set it down on top of, sorry, I was going to burp, but I was like, I can't do it. I tried to muffle it, and it sounded weird. Okay, so you bend it over the toothpick. So then you can set it right there, just kind of nest over that with the perfect shape. I'll try to get closer. It just, well, I got closer, it got blurry. But you know what I mean. If you don't know what I mean, then you should know what I mean. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue on that. And because I bent it in the same shape, I can just set it right on top. Boop. Like so. Give that a couple seconds to dry because we will be bending this piece, and we want to make sure that it is fully dried. I'm going to poke it with a stick. Poke it down. Make sure that it is on there. Bend just a little bit just to kind of test it, I guess. Okay, good. Okay, so now this part, when we're bending it, we're going to bend it around the ammo. Bend it around that ammo that we put. And when we do that, we're going to take our X-Acto knife or anything that has a really narrow edge to it, and we're just going to push it in between each cylinder. And then go around again. And then push. Go to the next cylinder. We'll turn it around. Go to the next cylinder. And then push. Bend it again. And then push. And then the last one. Bring it around. And then push. But then the last one, you can see how it's a little bit too long. Just the end of it. So now we're going to take the whole thing up. As you can see, now that it has the shape, the metal has the shape of the toothpicks. This is exactly what we wanted to do. I'm going to cut off that little extra piece at the end. The little extra piece there. Okay. So now that the metal is in the shape that we want it, it's form-fitting. It fits around all of the pieces of wood, which is perfect. I'm actually going to put the glue on the metal itself. Let's see. Let's put a bead of glue there. Now the glue with this metal, it kind of flows down it, but I'm going to take this toothpick and just spread it around evenly. Okay. So now we have some glue on here. We're going to go ahead and push it back down. Just pushing it back around. And because it's already form-fitting, we don't need to do any more bends to it. I'm just going to take my fingernail actually and bend that last little piece around. Whoop. So there you have it. Now we have that metal band, that really cool metal band that holds all of the ammo together, and that is on the clip. We're getting there, people. This is happening. Okay, only 2 more parts. We got 2 more pieces. Now we're going to take one of these pieces of metal, and we're going to hold it underneath the barrel. Woo! I made this really long, so I made it really long, so I'm going to actually cut it a little. You kind of want to measure twice, cut once, so you don't have to keep doing this. I kind of just eyeing it because I've done this enough that I can eye it. So just do what you feel comfortable doing. Okay, so now that this is the same length as the barrel, I'm going to take another piece of toothpick, and I'm going to push it around completely. Push it around, okay, and slide it off. So now this is a cylinder, the same shape as the toothpick. I'm going to set that right there. Now I'm going to apply some glue to the bottom of this toothpick, and then pick up my cylinder piece carefully, not to like crush it or bend the shape. Take my cylinder piece and then push it. Oops. Whoop. Want to try to slide it. Slide that over top of the barrel, like so. Got a little bit of a kind of a splintery piece right there. Oh, no. Gotcha. I gotcha. Okay, so we're going to look around both sides, see how, make sure this is even. It's a little uneven. But the good news is, because it's uneven, it comes up a little bit higher on that side than it does on that side. But this is the side that's important, because if a soldier's holding it on this side, this will be the side that you see. So it's okay if you make a mistake or if something's off a little bit. This is going to be the side that people aren't going to see as much. So because if a figure's holding it, let's say this guy's holding it in his hand, it will be on this side, and then you won't get to that side very often. So that's totally fine that happened. Now the second piece is going to do the same thing, just going to bend it over the top of the barrel. I probably should have measured. I should have kept the measurement from the other one, but oh well. So if you want to know how to measure this without eyeing it, what you can do, I'm actually going to take a different piece just so I can show you this for as an example. This here is another piece of toothpick, and it's roughly the same length, but let's pretend that this is the same length. What you can do is lay it down next to the metal that you want to use, and then let's just hold that down there, and then holding it next to it, I'm going to do a little bit longer because I know it's a little longer. Holding it next to it, you can just put a little scratch with an X-Acto knife or anything. This metal is really thin, so anything that really can dent into it. So then you don't have to hold it up to anything. You can just take your metal and say, oh, there's a crease right there. I'm not sure if that's going to focus, but there's a crease right there. And I'm just going to cut that crease like that. And then holding it back up to my gun, I can see that that is the right length. Oh, I need to cut a little bit more. In an ideal world, it's going to work that way. It's just hard because that's not the right length, and I already have it on here, and it's hard to hold it up because it won't sit flat. But now that we have this piece, we're going to do the same process of bending this over a toothpick. Now you don't want this piece to be too wide, because if it's too wide, then it will bend like all the way around the toothpick. We don't want that. We just want this to kind of sit on top. We want this to be just a little piece of metal to go on top of the barrel. We don't want this to be this isn't the whole barrel itself. I could make the barrel look metal by wrapping it, but I'm not going for that look. In a sense I am, but I'm going to be putting black paint in between these barrels, so we're not going to do that. So this technique I'm going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to put the metal on the top of the gun. If this focuses, does my hand just turn really yellow? So this one, it does cover the majority of the top of the barrel and the bottom, but there is still some wood underneath there, as you can see. Looking at both sides, it's on there pretty even. Now this is a different technique you can do. I'm going to put some glue on the front end of the gun, and that is going to hold the whole thing together. I'm also going to put a little and I'm going to be putting glue on the other side. So again, if you want to do stuff like this, use the side that won't be seen a lot, but I'm going to put a little bit more glue in between these two, in between those two pieces, and just a little bit on top. And this will be painted, so whatever glue you put on there, don't worry, you're not going to see a bunch of glue everywhere. Okay, so that is pretty much it. Now there's one other thing you can do, or there's actually two other things you can do. There's several things. Let me just restate that. You can take, let me try to find one. If I have one really handy over here, I probably don't, but that's okay. You can take little pieces of plastic, like the plastic pieces I use for like the belts and stuff, and you can put like pouches or packs on the gun. You can put stuff like that on the stock as well, like extra supply packs or whatever you want to put on the gun itself. You can do that. Also, if you want, you can cut off the bottom part of the handle. You can shorten the handle up a little bit. I'm actually going to use this 501st Trooper to put this gun in his hand. The advantage of cutting down the handle a little bit is you won't see it sticking out of the guy's hand. Wow, he has got a tight hand. Let's just going to use Jarvis right here. So when you put it fully into the hand, you can see how it comes down a little bit right there, that little extra part peeking through. If you don't like that, which I'm not a big fan of, then you can go ahead and trim that. Otherwise, leave it on there because it's not going to hurt anything. But this is the gun. This is the shotgun. All it's left is painting, and I'm not going to do that right now because painting is, you have to reuse your imagination, and I'm going to let you guys decide what color you want to paint your own. So go for it. I'll probably paint this one black. And if I have a figure that might have this gun, I'm going to kind of cater the color scheme around the figure I'm using. But as you can see, it fits well in his hand. He can still stand up fully with it. It doesn't get in the way proportionately, really proportionate to the figure. So yeah, that is it. That is how you make, let me pick up my camera here. That is how you make this version of a shotgun for your Minty figures. Now, if you're able to follow along with this tutorial and make this gun, and if you did make it, make a video. Just have a little video showing the gun that you made, and I would love to see it. Or if you made any variations to it, or if you make your own weapons, let me know down below, and I'll go check them out because that'd be really cool to see how that works. Also, I guess at the end of this video, there's just like a little update. I do have a couple more packages that I got from people. I think most of them are customs that they sent me, and I got to do reviews on those. Also, the last ones that I reviewed, I still need to send those out. I got a comment about those. I do have those ready to be sent. I've just been really busy and they were on my desk and I forgot about it. But I do have those. They will be sent back to you, do not worry. I'm going to do that this week, so that's that. The next tutorial that I'm going to make, in case anyone was curious, I'm going to do a tutorial about the arm, and it's going to be it's just going to be the armor that I use for my arms. I'm going to do a tutorial on that, so it's going to be how to apply the metal to get these arms, and then cutting the metal out and stuff like that. And it's going to be really cool. So I have a couple things I'm going to do. That is probably going to be closer to, I don't have an arm like that, never mind. It has some cool detailed parts that I wanted to use that I'm going to put on that. But anyway, when that video comes out, the armor pack with the armor template, I have this here, is the armor template that I have. When that video comes out, those will be going on sale. So don't forget to go check that out. There'll be a link down below to my eBay where I sell the armor pack, which has all the armor, basically all the armor for a figure like this. I have a pack that comes with those. And then also I have a template card. These are I actually use these cards. These aren't just for me selling and stuff. I actually do use these when I make my figures. I will do a fabric one as well. There's enough room on the metal one that I could probably fit the fabric on the other side. So those are really cool, really handy to have. I will be getting those, are the new ones put out, but I do have those on my channel. These two figures I'm going to just do a lot too. I don't like the blue, so I'm going to go over it with this apple barrel blue. Don't worry, I know I say apple barrel is not the most enduring thing, but I'm going to be putting that over here or over these figures, and it's going to be really epic, and I'm going to make them look really cool. So those two figures I'm going to be working on today as well. I think that might be doing it. Also, get excited for the contest coming out. It's going to be super awesome. It is definitely not going to be Star Wars, and it's going to be really cool. I guess I could tell you what it's going to be, but I'm going to save that for I guess this weekend, because I'm going to do it by the end of this month. So yes, I don't want to give any details away. Anyway, I've been rambling. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hitchhike it. Don't forget to fist pound that subscribe button. But bam! And I'll put a link to my tutorials up in this corner here. So these cool tutorials I do like this. I've like almost 30 other tutorials all about Star Wars weapons and figures and just information in general. I will be doing more tutorials with other figures and other types of customs. Also, I said I'm going to be doing a start to finish Batman with this figure here. After I finish these two guys, I will be working on this one, and I'm going to try to make that video happen. So that is that. Also, if you're the first person to leave a comment on my video, I'll give you a shout out up in here. If you have if you have content on your video, I'll put a link to that so people can go check out your stuff. Also, don't forget to just have fun. Have a lot of fun making your customs. If it gets stressful or frustrating, just step back for a little bit and just keep at it, and you'll have the best customs you can ever make, and it's going to be awesome. So, alrighty, everyone, you have a super wonderful, fantastic day. God bless, and I will see you next time.